He was the second elected mayor of the District of Columbia who remained in politics for more than 40 years.
Marion Barry is dead after being recently hospitalized, but his legacy lives on. Good evening. This is CTV News for Monday, November 24th. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Well, Marion Barry died from natural causes on Sunday after having been released from Howard University Hospital on Saturday. People across the region have expressed their sadness about the former mayor's death. County Executive Rashawn Baker released a statement calling Barry an inspiration and an icon. He credited the former mayor for giving him his first job. Calvin Hawkins, senior advisor to Baker, shared some of his own memories of Barry with CTV News.
My father was one of his drivers. My mother was one of his executive secretaries when he came into office in 1978. Marion Barry gave me my first summer job. I'm sure you hear a lot of that. But more importantly, he was just a father figure that, like others have said, he was always open to talk to you and ensure that you stayed on the straight and narrow path. Up to this day, this coming February 2015, we were planning to do a book signing out here in Prince George's County for him. We wanted to do it during Black History Month, and we planned to have the biggest one that he's had.
And Marion Barry was 78 and recently wrote an autobiography titled Mayor for Life.
Meanwhile, Prince George's Councilmember Obie Patterson is also reminiscing about the late mayor. Patterson says he personally admires Barry because of his love for young people.
Mayor Barry was a champion for building construction and building capacity among those who never had a chance to get into that arena. He made a number of minority millionaires, which I think is outstanding. And but I think you couple that with his commitment for seniors, his thrust for making sure that young people in the city could get jobs.
And there's no word yet on funeral arrangements. Meantime, the town of Ferguson, Missouri on edge tonight. The long-awaited grand jury decision in the shooting death of an unarmed black teenager by a white police officer is to be released. The 18-year-old's death sparked days of protest in the St. Louis suburb. Police responded in riot gear, tear-gassing protesters as well as journalists. We are joined now by Bob Ross of the Prince George's NAACP with more on this issue.
So, thank you for joining us, Mr. Ross. Tell us a little bit. People are expecting, and I think some are actually hoping for an indictment. What do you think the reaction here is going to be?
At this time, we don't know what the indictment will be, but the NAACP nationally and locally is preparing for this incident. We've heard that the jury had read the verdict in decision. Immediately following that verdict, the NAACP will have contact the legal department. And all state presidents and leaders will be on a conference call later this evening as we prepare our next strategy to move forward with that. Also, we'll be preparing our action plan, whether we will be protesting or but everything that we do, we ask everyone to remain calm, let the legal process work itself out.
I was going to ask, so this conference call tonight around 7:30, 8 o'clock?
Yes.
What do you plan on talking about? What's going to be talked about during that meeting?
That time, our legal department will be on the phone and advising us of the decision. They're going to review the grand jury's decision, either pro or con, and then from there, we'll lay out the next plan and talking points for all units throughout the country on what to say and how we're moving forward there. But we're going to move forward as a unit, not disfractional, but as the national NAACP. And
the jury is 7 men. There's 9 whites and 3 blacks. And tell us, you think this might be a concern here?
It could be a big concern. But we're hoping that they look at all the facts and deliver the right verdict.
So if there is a failure, I shouldn't say that, if they don't indict this person, the police officer, what do you think the reaction will be, or what should the reaction be?
The reaction should be one of calm. One, lay out your next legal plan to revenge that. But we need to address this issue of police shooting of young African Americans in this country. We got to get back to good community policing. I know I will be talking to the chief when I get back to the office, and we'll work together here in this community to make sure that everything is smooth.
Okay, Bob Ross, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, the 12-member jury made up of 9 whites and 3 blacks. If indicted, the officer could face charges ranging from second-degree murder to involuntary manslaughter.
Well, a bicyclist is dead following a hit-and-run crash in Lanham. The incident happened about 2 a.m. on Sunday. Police arrived at Martin Luther King Jr. Highway to find the victim in the roadway suffering from critical injuries. He died later at an area hospital. Officers say a car traveling westbound hit the man who was riding along the curb. Investigators are looking for a black sedan with front-end damage, including a broken headlamp and a piece of a bumper that's missing. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Well, a hit-and-run driver in a fatal accident from January pleads guilty. Prince George's State's Attorney Angela Alsobrooks announced today that Liam Adecco admitted to failure to remain at the scene of a collision involving death. On January 17th, Adecco was seen on video entering Looney's Pub in College Park. Soon after, he was shown having difficulty walking and drove off in a dark sedan. The victim, Corey Hubbard, was attempting to cross Baltimore Avenue when he was struck by a Toyota that did not stop.
He decided to take a plea and take responsibility for his actions. And so this plea carries a maximum of 10 years. However, his guidelines for this will be probation of 2 years.
Adecco admitted to driving the car and faces up to 2 years in prison. He'll be sentenced January 30th, 2015.
Well, in other news, don't let today's great weather fool you. Storm clouds are brewing, and that means our area could be hit with several inches of snow the day before Thanksgiving. The State Highway Administration is warning motorists that our area could see anywhere from 0 to 14 inches of the white stuff on Wednesday. The agency is advising drivers to think about shifting their plans to that day to avoid any problems on the highways.
It's the folks that have some flexibility, that think they're just going to stay at work, maybe leave a little early on Wednesday and then get on the road. They're the folks that if we can change their behavior now, and maybe they take off Wednesday if they can and leave Tuesday, or maybe they hang on and wait till Thursday. But if we get a tremendous amount of truckers combined with a tremendous amount of folks that don't listen on Wednesday, and then all of a sudden it changes over at some point in the day from rain to snow, it's going to be a mess, because then our trucks can't get out to treat the roads.
And Buck says their drivers are on call for this potential storm. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.